Hi everybody, my name's John Lacey, and today we're going to attempt to do some stuff in DaVinci Resolve. I must admit, I'm not a particularly happy camper this morning because Restream is not playing nicely with me lately, and I don't really understand why, but anyway, it is what it is. So I will just update something in the background here. Hopefully that's okay. We'll go back to our tabs. All right, so anyway, cut a really long story short, and I'm going out live to all the various places. So in the unlikely event that anybody's watching, feel free to say hi. It would be great to actually hear from you. I'm going to press a different button over here. Okay, so I guess what I want to talk to you about today is that I kind of really want to see if I can learn a little bit of DaVinci Resolve. So it's been on my to-do list forever, and I really haven't had a chance to do it. And I'm hoping to do it now because as much as I like using Camtasia to do video editing with, there are some things I can't really do with that. And I'm really interested in sort of creating some stream assets. So hello to Cheryl's Design and Photo Art. Great to have your company today. So that's what we're going to attempt to do today. And again, I don't know why technology is cursing me this morning, but we got there in the end. So we are starting a little bit late. I don't know if this is really going out to all the various places, but we'll find out in time. But today I basically, let me share my screen. I want to go into DaVinci Resolve, which does seem like a bit of a black box here beside me. I must admit, as just a little side rant, as much as I love dark interfaces, I find they all look the same to me. So that's a personal quirk of mine. But what I want to do today, I want to see if I can make a sort of a like and subscribe a graphic that animates and that I can sort of bring into OBS and work with it in that way. So let's, I guess before I go any further, I should go into File and go to my project settings. And again, I just want to make sure that I'm on 30 frames per second, because that's how I like to work. And 1920 by 1080 is great. That's exactly what I want here. So now I'm going to dig into the Fusion tab, which is this one over here. And this is where we get into all the nodes. And this is a brave new world for me, because you really do need to think about what you're doing here a little bit. I'm going to hide the spline editor. I'm going to hide the keyframes for a second. I really just want to work with the nodes. And I guess, first of all, let's drag on a background node. And it's brought the media out for me as well. So essentially what I want to do here, because I kind of want this to appear on top of my stream, is I want to give this a transparent background. So I brought on my background node here. We make it black, but we turn the alpha channel down to 0. And there are specific file formats that we'll need to export this out as well. And let me just see. I've got those two showing for me at the moment. I just got to remember where to click to just show the one, because I'm only really interested in the one. Is that one? Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Nice. So let's just see what we can achieve here. We do also have guides in here somewhere. Let me just see if I can turn those on. Okay, cool. So these are kind of the text safe guides. So I probably want to be working predominantly within this middle rectangle here. What I want to do is I actually want to bring in some text, and I want basically to say like and subscribe and just have a bit of animation in there. So we'll bring on our text node up here. And I think I need to drag this down to the backgrounds, and that'll create a merge. It should create a merge node for me. There we go. Cool, cool. And essentially I can come in here and I can type the word like. It's already on Open Sans Bold, which is kind of a font that I like using at the best of times. So I like that quite a lot. We could just increase that a little bit. But I guess the thing I want to do is I kind of, and I'm not really sure, probably because I'm in here. If I click out of there. All right. So I guess the thing about DaVinci Resolve is you do need to be a little bit careful about where you click because potentially everything has its own meaning. But that's fine. Let's just roll with that at the moment. So we'll go like. I'll see if I can copy this and paste it. And I'll change this one to and. Again, you can't see it because I haven't actually merged it yet. So there's a couple of different ways apparently that we can do this. I can actually drag the merge onto here. And I can bring this down here. And I think should go there maybe. No, okay. Let's not do that one because clearly I don't know enough about what I'm talking about. But I guess the easy way, the lazy way of doing this is just drag this output into the merge input. No? All right, let's just try and drag it in the middle here then. I'm sure there was a key I could press for this, but maybe I'm wrong. All right, well, again, this is literally me trying to learn this in real time, so it's probably going to be, it's going to end very, very badly, but that's okay. Let's just roll with it. I think maybe this merge needs to go up here, and this needs to go to the media out. There we go. I think that's what needs to happen. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back to our text. And again, there's probably an easier way of changing where this physically is, but I'm going to just try and do it from the layout tab. Perhaps not. Yeah, okay. So I guess the other thing too that might be worthwhile is if we right click and, do we have an option to rename these? I'm sure we do. There we go, F2. So I will say like text. And text. I'm just not really sure, and maybe I need to do some Googling in real time to actually make this work, but what I kind of want to do is rearrange the position of these things, and it's not giving me a lot of joy on that front. So I'm kind of wondering, what do we have here? Allow preview, allow manual positioning. Perhaps that's what I'm looking for. Because at the moment, if I sort of drag in here, it's selecting different characters. I just want to adjust the position of the text box, if you like, automatically. But that's really, really interesting. And I thought this would be a little bit more counterintuitive. But if I go, I don't know, can I adjust? There we go. So if I adjust the center Z, I mean, that in itself could potentially be a fun effect. Like to have it really large and then go really small could be good too. And we can animate these keyframes as well. So at the moment, I'll leave that there. So the center, if I change this to maybe 1, okay, now we're talking. All right, so maybe if I change this to -1, no, -0.5. Okay, we're getting closer. 125. No, it goes the other way. All right. In fact, if I do it like that, there we go. Okay. So now if I click, can I click in here? There we go. And I can bring that down or up. So in this case, I kind of want it to be up. So I'm going to imagine that I want it there. But I'm going to have to change the y-axis too. So let's... And that's a little bit more dramatic at the moment. So let's go 272. And again, I do like the cursor to sort of nudge these into position. I think that's working pretty well. So I think that actually works really, really well. So let's roll with that. I'm going to grab this y-axis because I think that would be a really good one to apply over here as well. Okay, so Saeed is here to save the day. as is his custom. To move it, you have to grab it by the tiny red square inside the circle. Okay, that's good to know. A part of me is a bit of a, I was going to say control freak. I guess control freak probably is the word. So I do actually kind of like working with the numbers. But again, that's really good. And hello, Saeed, thanks for popping in. I don't know why Restream doesn't like me at the moment, but it took me several minutes to try and actually get going live this morning, even though I'm back in OBS land, where I like to live. But anyway, that's fine. So I guess to Saeed's point, if I grab, okay, so if I go right into the very middle, and that'll actually change from red to white, and then I can move it around. Okay, cool. All right, that's good to know. All right, so like and again, I'm going to copy another one of these. Not like that. I'm going to copy it, but I'm going to make sure I deselect it before I do that. And we'll make this one the subscribe option. And again, it's not really... so I'll bring in my merge node. I know there are more efficient ways of doing this, but as a beginner, I'm just going to roll however I'm going to roll. Bring that down there. Bring this over here. I don't want that one there. So I want it to merge out of here. But that's not going to work either. Okay, let me think about that for a second. Oh dear. I wanted to try and do this live so I had a little bit of accountability. But I mean, it's going to be a shocker. It really is. And I just got to take comfort in the fact that I do have my coffee here. So this is a coffee and content session. So caffeine makes everything better. And it is Sunday morning here in Australia. I realize it's not really true for all of you. All right. I'm going to look. Okay. So I got rid of that one. So I'm pretty sure, maybe it's this one. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Well, I guess like the thing is, if we compare it to the other ones that did kind of work, get rid of the merge for a second. And the other thing, like I have seen people literally just sort of drag and hold down a key on the keyboard. And I don't know if it's like control or, oh, there we go. Something changed there. No, maybe not. All right. I'm going to bring that in between those two, and then I can just come down here. That'll work. Okay. And say it's saying shift. Okay. I don't know, like, is that just me or is that on a bit of an angle? Maybe I bumped it. Perspective 1. There we go. Okay, like and subscribe. All right. So as painful as that has probably been to watch me attempt to do, it is done. So, I mean, that in itself is really good. I guess what I kind of want to do, and I probably need to do a bit of math for this, which will always be exciting when I do math live, but I do have a calculator here. So it's 30 frames a second. I probably only want this to go for like 10 seconds. So, I mean, that's 300 frames. I don't even need a calculator for that. That would be awesome. Okay, so what I do kind of want to see if I can do though, I'm just going to see what these other nodes are, because I know there are a number of options, and I get the feeling that there are actually some options that aren't actually in this toolbar. And I kind of just want to get a sense of what they are and when I might want to use them, because I guess the next thing that we could play with is the masking options, which I think could be really useful here. But again, given how much of a noob I am here, I don't know if that's really a great way of working. But again, add tool. Okay, here we go. So add tool. This is actually kind of what I wanted. So we can go in here. We've got all these different options. We've got macros and masks and things. All I really want, and it kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just my eyes, but it kind of looks like there's already a bit of stuff happening here anyway. But I want to see if I can introduce some sort of drop shadow. And again, Tanya Smith will tell Sage to charge, but I would be so lost without him. Select a node like merge is control space. Okay, so select them. Okay, cool. That has popped up on the screen. I'm not sharing, but essentially that looks like that. Okay, awesome. There we go. Brilliant. Oh, Saeed, you're the best. I probably do need to give you some money at some point. But what I kind of want to do is I just want to... and again, I'm not sure how elegant... In fact, so if I click on... Let me just... I'm on here and I go control space. Again, it keeps popping over to a different window, but I'm just going to move this over here so you can see it. But all I want is the drop shadow. I want to add that here. And that goes between the text and the merge, which makes sense. Okay, cool. And then I can come in here and I can sort of adjust these options. So again, I'm probably just going to leave it as a default. I don't really know what this is going to look like until I bring it into the context where I want to share it. But what I am kind of curious about is if I grab that same, because I guess that's the thing. If I come in here, my understanding is I can copy and then I can paste, theoretically, paste an instance. So if I paste this, okay, so it's connected to it in that way. Maybe that, yeah. Let's not make our lives that difficult. What I'll do, because I guess what I was thinking is potentially I could just have them all linked, and if I change the drop shadow on one, I can change it for all of them. But I'm not gonna be that creative for my first project here, guys. I've got to be cool, so I'm gonna add the same drop shadow in. I'll just leave it on the default options for all of these, unless I decide to change my mind, which is always possible. It would be good. Like I love the control, the select tool option, but I kind of wish I could, I don't know, constrain it to this screen. Or maybe even, can I dock that somewhere? Is that a thing? Doesn't look like so. Anyway, doesn't matter. All right, cool. So we got these here. So we got like and subscribe. What I might do, let's start. And I'm assuming those are the frames, so I will go 300. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. What was it, 114? Okay, so that's that must be a position, not a frame. Okay, cool. All right. We need to learn somehow, but anyway, that's fine. What I will attempt to do is, let's go back to the very beginning. And let's put a keyframe in there. Is that actually the beginning? I wouldn't have thought so. I wonder if this is because I haven't really got it contextualized in the editor yet. Okay, that's better. All right. So again, I don't know. I clearly don't know what I'm doing, but let's just play with it because it's the only way I will learn. All right. So let's for our like text, let's literally let me just, if I select it, because ideally what I would like to do is just drag it off here. And if I hit play, okay, clearly I've created the keyframe in the wrong place because it does exactly the opposite to what I was hoping it would do. So let me just make sure I'm definitely back at the beginning. In fact, right here, let's just make sure that this keyframe is there. Yep. I think that's right. Go back to the beginning. drag it off like that. Okay. Not the most exciting animation in the world, I'll be the first person to admit, but at least I think we're getting somewhere. What I probably would like to do, and if I go play, yeah, that's, I mean, it sort of takes forever. Can I, that's where the keyframe is. Because I guess with the spline editor, I could potentially adjust this. I'm just hitting the S key to make that more of a curve. And I believe there is a magical thing down here somewhere. Let me just time stretch. Okay, cool, cool. So if I drag that in, that should be a little bit quicker. So now if we play that. I mean, I like the motion of that. That kind of works. Again, I'm not going to be a great animator or a graphic designer at this point in time while I'm just playing with it, but that's fine. Let's turn off the spline editor for a second. I would love to sort of do a similar thing with the and text, but from the opposite direction. So again, I don't know where we were. Let's just say around here. Let's go back here. And again, because I am such a control freak, I would probably want to do this ordinarily via the math, the numbers, but today let's just play with it. So we can go like and subscribe. Again, if we go into the spline editor, let's turn off the like text and let's just look at this one. And I'll go S and let's adjust that a little bit, make it a little bit faster. Because I guess the thing is, like, I'm thinking in 10 seconds, but that's probably an eternity in little animation time. So it's probably needs to be a lot quicker, and maybe it needs to linger. Like once it's animated onto the screen, maybe it needs to linger for a little bit longer. But essentially, we've got like and subscribe. What I want to try and do now, and again, this is a very big if, but let's just see if I can bring in a mask. Not there though. What I want is the mask to be on the subscribe text, I think. Okay. And what I want to do is I kind of want to animate where the mask is. So at the moment, like, I want it kind of to be hidden at the start. And again, let me just make sure I'm definitely here. Controls. So probably the width and the height are what we're actually animating. We'll come in. Let's look at like and subscribe. So maybe around here. And I want to drag this out, but I kind of want to drag it down too, which I don't know. I mean, in some ways, it probably doesn't matter for my purposes. Like, that probably would suffice. But let's just go back and give that a go. And again, I think all my all my wrangling here is a bit, I don't know. It's not terribly elegant, but again, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I will give myself a little bit of grace on that front. But what I guess what I want to do, maybe we need to animate the center position as well. Because what I really want to do is just drag this down here. Let's see what that looks like. Actually, it's okay. So here, I want to, and I'd love to be able to do that with the keyboard. In fact, I guess I probably can from up here. So if I go, maybe it needs to be a little bit less granular. Okay, there we go. It's probably not going to be very elegant, but we'll give it a go. All right, like and admittedly, like it's not great, but I think it's okay for what I'm aiming at right now. So let's just go down and find our rectangle. So I guess that's the thing that we're animating here. Again, I will grab these couple of points. I will press the S key. I don't like, to be honest, I think we'll leave that as is. We'll just play that through again. I think that's okay for the moment. So what I'll do, okay, this is a great point. So Saeed writes, there is also a transform node, maybe better for all the positioning and sizing and stuff. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, but what I might do right now, if I go to, where am I going to? Here. All right, so let's just see if I can export this. Not like that, evidently. In fact, can I do it from? I probably can't do it from Fusion. I gotta remember how this all works. I have done a version of this before. Export timeline? No. I clearly haven't had enough coffee. Let me just play some music in the background for a second. Okay, so timeline, clip. I have literally done this. This is what's so annoying is I just can't remember how to export it, how to actually render it. It's probably really, really obvious too, and really timeline. Render in place. The rocket icon on the bottom. Okay, there we go. Of course it's the rocket one on the bottom. How silly of me. Okay, so I mean, I think the great thing about this potentially is it may have remembered the settings I played with previously, although I have a feeling it probably hasn't. And in fact, I knew this would be an issue, so I did take a screenshot. And I guess that is the one thing I did notice, because I've been watching an obscene amount of tutorials on this in recent times, is that a lot of Mac people will tell you certain settings. And I guess, to be really clear, the thing that I'm most concerned about here is actually the alpha channel, because I want to make sure that it exports with transparency, so it doesn't actually have that black background. So... and I've seen a lot of tutorials with Mac users that say use this format, and that format didn't work for me at all. But I did ultimately find another version, and I'm hoping it's here in my amazing collection of screenshots, which again I probably need to organize a little bit better moving forward, but it is what it is. DaVinci Resolve. There we go. Okay, cool. I do have that. That's exciting. So what we want QuickTime uncompressed. And I have been given a different utility to actually compress this, because again, you probably don't want it to be massive either. But again, if I go to this one here, which is B grade 8-bit, and export alpha. All right, and I will say like and subscribe CC, and I will find a folder for this. Okay, let's add to the render queue, and let's render all. Okay, there is a GoPro one that works. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So what I'll do, let me turn my screen share off for a second. I'm just gonna see if I can add this video directly to OBS, and we'll see what it looks like. So probably media source. And I'll say like and subscribe CC. Okay, so hopefully if I click OK now, that'll pop up on the screen. So again, not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is kind of exciting that I'm able to actually do that. So what so I'm just in OBS. I'll turn that on again. There we go. Like and subscribe. Okay, cool. Hello, Roy. Thank you so much for popping in. Hope everything's going okay for you in your part of the world. I know you've had some pretty extreme weather events and power outages and all of the things. Say it's getting really technical for me, even at this hour of the morning. Also changing the background node to 00FF00 and keying it out in OBS. And yeah, I mean, that's fair, because I guess that's the thing I can actually do in Camtasia, is I can just give it a green background or a blue background and key that out as well. But I really, and it's weird and it's funny because I will very rarely say anything nice about Apple, but I do love the way that QuickTime sort of supports the transparency. So it looks great. If you switch the like and coming in before the end, and it already looks good on first try. Okay, cool. All right, sounds like Roy's doing all right, which is good to hear. Hello, Chantel. Thanks for popping in. And Roy's saying things are much better here, so that's great. There's so much going on in the world right now. I just hope everyone's doing whatever they can to look after themselves, because I'm not going to lie, it's a lot. All right, so anyway, just recapping, because a whole bunch of people have just popped in. The project that I'm trying to give myself today is to learn a little bit of DaVinci Resolve, and I kind of, like, it hurts my brain a little bit, but I kind of love the idea of the nodes. I'm sure there must be a better way of me to, okay, there we go. So essentially all I've done, it's very basic, and it's like literally the first one that I've kind of tried here. Just create this like and subscribe animation. And the big thing for me, part of the reason I'm using DaVinci Resolve, is I really want to preserve that transparency. So I can come into, if I turn the screen sharing off for a second, I can come into OBS, I can just press the button, and those things will pop up on the screen, and the transparency will be in there as well. So Apple Res 4444. Is that an output format? Because I guess the other thing, and I guess the tutorial, like and I've watched an obscene amount of tutorials on YouTube about DaVinci Resolve, and I think it's a great way of working. And I can't actually think of the guy's name, but he does have a live streaming channel, and he made a tutorial on how to do this. And his instructions worked for me in a way that a lot of Mac users were like, use this format. And I'm like, yeah, I use that format, and it didn't do anything for me, but thank you. So anyway, I'll have to do a better job of actually citing my sources in future, but I kind of like this. And I guess the other thing too, actually, I'll come back to Saeed. So Roy, who's clearly in a good mood, says, you have resolved to learn something about DaVinci Resolve. I sure have. Maybe we can work in some sort of DaVinci Resolve pun in there as well. Saeed asks about this file and the size of it. It's probably pretty big. If I'm being honest, let me go and just see if I can find out. And of course, my computer's suddenly being inexplicably slow. Okay, so it's 1.15 gigabytes. So yes, that's insane. And I that same tutorial did introduce me to something else that was that would actually convert it to WebM format while preserving the background. So, and I think it's called Shutter Encoder. In fact, let me... I don't remember the exact settings, but again, it may remember them. So let me just try. So if I go screen share, if I drag on this file, this movie file over here to this Shutter Encoder, and Shutter Encoder is free, and Mac and Windows, all of the things. And we have all these different options, and I don't really remember which one I was using to get it to a smaller file size, so I probably need to look that up. In fact, I'm going to do that thing where I go into my YouTube history and see if I can actually find the video in question, which will be difficult because I watch so much stuff on YouTube all the time, music videos and all kinds of weird, wonderful things. Let me just see if I can find it. This is all very exciting. I should play some more music. And I still can't find it, and I'll be scrolling forever potentially. I guess you can look it up. Like you can search in the watch history. So if I go DaVinci, that'll cut down a little bit, I'm sure. But again, I've been watching like everything I could find on DaVinci recently, so there's a lot to get through. I mean, I say that. It's actually giving me not many options at all. So I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to figure that out. I don't really remember what these settings were. Yes, yeah. I mean, this is a great thing about the internet and YouTube specifically. You know, when you find someone who's figured these sorts of things out, it's just amazing. And Saeed says, also starting with Fusion when learning DaVinci is a bit mind-boggling. So, again, I kind of just wanted to create these stream assets in DaVinci, but the more I look at it, the more I think it would be amazing to do everything, because I guess at the end of the day, these tabs at the bottom of the screen, which are kind of tiny on my screen, but you can do everything within this one application. And, you know, you could just be editing your video as normal, and then all of a sudden you're like, I want to do a complex mask in this particular bit of footage, and you can just jump between these things very, very quickly. Okay, so Saeed's giving me some things to play with. So VP9 and then as WebM on the right. Okay, cool. I'm not sure what I'm even looking at here. So one of the functions. What did you say? VP9. It's probably, there we go. Right in front of me. Okay, cool. And then as WebM on the right. So we can adjust the scale potentially, but I think it's the format. One of these. Audio. So many options. It's probably right in front of me somewhere. Because enable the alpha channel is important. Directly right to the VP. There we go. I mean, okay, it's defaulted there anyway. All right, awesome. So yep, and I've added that suffix. So now, if I press the magical button, which again I'm sure is start function, that would be the one. Give that a go. It's doing its little render thing here. And it's done. And that's 0.99 megabytes. So that that is one hell of a difference. Because what did I say it was? 1 point something gigabytes? Let me look at that as well. 1.15 gigabytes for that animation. So, and let me go back here and I'll turn the screenshot off and I'll turn this comment off. And so I turn this on. That is apparently 1.15 gigabytes on my hard drive. Let me just go in and replace that file with the compressed version. I don't think you'll see any difference, but I guess we'll find out in real time. So there we go. I mean, it's fine. Like that is a very useful thing, and I'm sure there are probably options in DaVinci that I could change the output, but again, that's crazy. You could, and as the textrovert, you could do that in chat, which would be amazing. But yes, I mean, it's a brave new world. And again, I'm thinking about animated banners. I'm thinking about stinger transitions. I'm thinking about sort of like and subscribe and follow and different notifications. And again, I don't really want to become a 3D animation expert or anything like that. I just want to know enough to be dangerous and create things for my own little streams. So we'll just keep plodding along with this. But I think I love that it's free, but I will say you do need a relatively spec'd up computer to do this properly. And the thing that surprises me is every time I have to download an update for this software, it's at least 3 gigabytes in size. So okay, I guess first of all, I don't own a Mac. So Keynote is already kind of dead to me. But the question was, what made you choose DaVinci instead of Keynote for something like this? And again, I mentioned it a little earlier, but like I do most of my editing in Camtasia because I do a lot of software tutorial stuff, and it's really good at capturing screens and sort of the cursor movement and being able to adjust that and all of the things. The one thing it doesn't do is it doesn't support any kind of transparency. And I have done things in the past where I would just have a green color in the background and just key that out in OBS. But it doesn't seem particularly efficient to me doing it that way. And I'm fortunate these days that I have an insanely spec'd up computer with my Threadripper and all of the things, which I'm sure I'm probably using like 1 or 2% of. But yes, yeah, I don't have a Mac, and it's funny. It's such an ongoing thing because everywhere I go, people are like, you should be using Ecamm. And I'm like, I don't own a Mac, and I don't think I really want to own one, if I'm being honest. But anyway, so yes, I mean, those options are out there. But again, I love the idea of it. And because I'm a very old person, the minute I started sort of keyframing the animations, I got really nostalgic about the days when I was learning Adobe Flash, or probably even Micromedia Flash as it was known way back then. So I mean, it's not completely foreign to me as a concept. So I kind of want to play with that a little bit. But I guess the next thing I want to sort of animate some banners. there are certain things that we're always doing on the show. And at the moment, I actually use a chatbot via Mix It Up to bring them in as comments and just show the comments on the screen. But I think it would be fun to have something animated, maybe some QR codes in there, that kind of thing. Speaking of the friendly chatbot, hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Or I suppose I could do this. Like and subscribe. And again, like that is such a basic little animation. Although I guess the thing I need to look at next is like that is triggered because that's a media source in OBS. And I've got restart playback when source becomes active. But what I'd really like to do is make that source inactive the minute the video stops playing. And I could probably do that on the Stream Deck. I could probably say show source, wait X number of seconds, and then hide source. But I kind of wonder if there isn't some other way of doing that in OBS. And I think if anyone knows, Saeed will probably know. So Saeed says, I'm actually thinking about paying for the studio version of DaVinci, already using the free version for years now. I guess the thing I will say is the keyboard and the speed editor, like the actual hardware looks kind of so much fun. Like I probably don't do enough editing to justify purchasing that, but I think it's only like I think the speed editor is like $700 Australian, and I think the keyboard is closer to 1,000 or something, but it looks like so much fun. It looks like so much fun. Chantel's assuring me that I'm not that old, which is lovely. I feel old, although I will say, as someone who spends a lot of time in front of a computer, like I often have a lot of aches and pains. And I've done a couple of things quite accidentally recently that I just made a world of difference. And one of them, and I don't know how visible that is behind me. I shouldn't move too much. You can see the ends of my green screen. But I put the neck rest back on the chair, and I didn't like the way it looks, but to be honest, it just helps my neck so much. And I've even, I found a memory foam pillow that I had ages ago, and I've just started sleeping with that again, and it's just been so nice on my poor old aching body. So yeah, anything you can do to make life easier, go that way. But so I guess for me, I like Camtasia, and I probably still will use it a little bit, but I kind of want to see if I can't do more in DaVinci, because I think this is very powerful. And again, it's a bit like OBS itself. Like, you know, most people probably need 2 to 5% of its functionality, but it's really nice knowing that there is so much more you can do with it if you wanted to. And again, like even... like I want to look at doing some more masking stuff, because again, I guess because I'm in the green, I've got the green screen behind me, I can do a lot of sort of depth of field type of stuff and have different layers between me and the outside world. Yes, and Chantel can relate to the achiness. You got to do what you got to do. And sometimes, because I know Chantel's a fellow Australian, there was a time just before Christmas one year, I went onto the Kmart website and I ordered every massage accessory they had, and like $200 of random stuff. And some of those things work really well, and some of those things are pointless, but you got to do what you got to do. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm a little surprised. I went to my watch history and I searched for DaVinci, and it gave me remarkably little. And and maybe it's just because they don't all have DaVinci in the title of the video. I'm not really sure how that works in the history, but anyway, I will try and find out who that is and what that is. And I must say, I don't know if Roy is still around, but he did a stream for people over 40, and now I'm getting like nothing but recommendations about, if you're over 40, do this. DaVinci is all about full control with no templates, but it's fun if you're a geek who loves experimenting and figuring things out on your own. I guess the other thing too, and I don't have a complete working knowledge of how this works, but the other thing I've been told about the DaVinci Resolve stuff is you can actually, once you've created your animations and whatever, and your text, you can actually select you can make that its own template, and you can sort of say, hey, I want these properties to be editable from the main screen, which is actually something you can do in Camtasia too. But I just love the idea of maybe creating something once and then just repurposing it and recycling it in that way. Because I guess the other thing too, this is so nerdy, but I'll see if I can show you really quickly. So if I go, I'm just bringing in a browser source here, but it's going to be a local file. And, geez, which one is it? I think it might be this one. Okay. So I've got to remember how this actually works, but essentially, in fact, it looks like nothing at the moment, and I probably don't know the CSS to show you this really quickly. But essentially, I made a banner in just as a HTML document, and I left the text places blank, and now I can go into the custom CSS, and in fact, I think it's probably title. I don't know what it is. I shouldn't try and demonstrate things without really thinking them through, but essentially I can just update them via CSS. So I could design it in HTML, which is something I'm personally comfortable in because I used to be a web designer and developer. Roy writes, sorry, I got those first, so I knew it was a hot topic. Yeah, it's funny, and there's so much advice on YouTube, and sometimes you look at it and go, yeah, I'm not doing that, but thanks a lot. And Chantel's saying, I got a massage gun from JB Hi-Fi. It was the best thing ever. I got the Kmart one, and it worked really well until it stopped working, but it worked so well when it was working, I just bought the same one again. And it's kind of amazing. It's embarrassing how many massage things I have, because I just, late 30s, early 40s, my body's just like, no, we're not going to play anymore. That's not how we roll. Wait, we should think things through before we go live to show it. Yes, we probably should. And it's funny, on my main show, which I do with Sam Proof, I am such a control freak that I almost want to rehearse everything word for word. And he's so chill and so relaxed that he'll just rock up and whatever happens, happens. And I think we probably need to meet somewhere in the middle. Because the thing, I've done demonstrations of OBS stuff, and because I want to be really rehearsed and I want to know what I'm doing, I will practice those things. But the problem is, I've got to make sure I've deleted the plugins and reset all the settings back to their defaults, because otherwise it gets really confusing for people watching along, because they won't see the things that I see. And often people on YouTube looking for tutorials are really looking for step-by-step and make it really, really obvious. And there was a time I demonstrated this closed caption plugin for OBS, and I was also recording in OBS at the same time, and because of that, I couldn't actually show one tiny little bit of the process. And I felt like I explained it in speech, I spoke about it. I said, this is what you'd need to do. But I got so roasted on that video, and bizarrely, it's still the most popular thing on my entire channel. And I kind of need to go back in and just do it again, because it's been so educational for me, because I now know what people are actually looking for and what they'll be happy with and what they'll be like, no, this is not gonna fly. So it's been very educational on that front. So yes. But anyway, I'm probably gonna probably come back in and schedule more of these in the future. Hopefully, Restream is a bit nicer to me. I have no idea what is going on, because every now and then it'll just be like host name cannot resolve, and I'm copying the stream key and destinations in correctly, but it just has a hissy fit, and it's so annoying because I am literally giving them money to use that service, even though I probably don't need to. It's probably it's convenient for me, but I probably can do it other ways. But but I mean, that in itself is so annoying, and it happens every now and then. It doesn't happen all the time, and I'm just not really sure what it is. I kind of wonder if I need to get my IP address whitelisted somewhere, because I just feel like something is being blocked somewhere. Maybe it is. It could even be the firewall settings on my computer. I might need to have a look at that. But yes, so anyway, I'm gonna keep scheduling these on a Sunday Australian time. So if you want to come and hang out, I kind of like the idea of this being just a bit of a more relaxed hangout, because I don't normally do unorganized, unstructured streams, and I think I probably need to start doing those a little bit more. Do you have a good upload speed? I don't think I have as good as you, because I remember you talking about that recently. Let me just do a quick speed test in the background. I must admit, like, when I started streaming a couple of years ago, like, I had, I don't know, I don't even think I had 15 megabytes up at that time, and I think it's a little bit better now, but it's not dramatically. And I have actually received messages from my ISP saying, hey, you could potentially get even better speeds by doing some different things. So at the moment, and this is, I think this is just the Google, this is the Google speed test. So 39.4 megabytes download and 14.1 megabytes upload. So they're saying it's fast. I would like it to be faster, but I think it's okay. But again, like, for me, solo streaming, that's one thing. But and that's the other thing. On my other show, I'm kind of bringing Sam in as a guest via video, and I don't know why, but it's just completely trashing his video quality. Yep. Okay. Well, I suspect you have better infrastructure than I do, but yeah, I'd love 40 up. That would be amazing. So yeah, I mean, I just try to do what I do, and I think in some ways it doesn't even, it's not a big deal for the solo stuff. Like, I'm sure I'm lagging, but I'm sure I'm lagging consistently. So we're so old, we remember 56 kilobits. These young folks don't even know. They don't even know what the sound of a screaming modem sounds like. They probably look it up though. No, bro. It's definitely not 40 gig. Well, I'm assuming it's not 40 gig. I don't think it would be. Like, it's, yeah. Unfortunately, Australia's a big place, and I mean, I don't want to be too critical, because I think we've come a long way in a short period of time. But it is weird, and it's frustrating, because there were different places where, depending on which side of the road you were on, you'd have different internet speeds. Like, there's just cabling in weird places, and some of it can support fast speeds and some of it can't, and it's just all this old infrastructure that is really difficult to overcome. So Australian internet speeds compared to the rest of the world. This will be a depressing one. Okay. I'm not even going to try and make sense of that article, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are places where it's much worse, but it would be great if it was better. And I guess that's the human condition to always want more, but it is what it is. And I'm grateful, because I can actually do stuff now in a way that I couldn't when I started, like, a couple of years ago. Like, it was... And it's not dramatically faster, but it's just fast enough that I can actually achieve the kinds of things that I want to do. So that can be really, really useful. But maybe I do need to sort of look into those upgrades, because it sounds like it is potentially possible for that to happen in my part of the world. So anyway, on that slightly character building note, I might go and finish what is probably very cold coffee at this point in time, but thanks for swinging by. And again, I'll probably do more of these. I kind of want to do a bit of content creation in real time and have a bit of a chat with you guys. So I'll schedule more of these in the future. So don't forget to, I don't know, like and subscribe if that's a thing that you want to do. And I will try to make sense of all these nodes. And the great thing is that Saeed knows everything. So if I get stuck, I can certainly let him know. Roy does write that he ranks like 25th in the States. So I live in a miracle scenario. I have a gig up and down. Okay, well, I mean, that would be really cool. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I think I probably do need to look at some other options, but again, I'm just thankful because I can kind of go live in a way that I couldn't just a little while ago. Apparently, I'm only one subscriber away from 550 subscribers, so you know, if you want to subscribe and you haven't already, make sure you click that button. I don't know where people are actually watching from because I am going out to various different places, and I don't think my combined Restream chat actually does, like, it tells me Chantel's watching on LinkedIn, and I think most people are watching on YouTube. It's one of those things though, I feel like I don't have any influence at all, and then I got this email from YouTube that was like, you got 60 new subscribers last month, and like, people watched your content for 273 hours in the last month, and I'm like, what on earth is going on? That's crazy. Okay, so apparently this just happened. 550 just updated. So thank you to whoever that was. I don't know that I can actually see who that was, but thank you nonetheless. We really appreciate that. I probably have a sound effect somewhere, but I'm not going to go about looking for that just now. But thank you from Roy as well. Yes. So it's all happening. Next week on the video and live streaming show, we're going to be doing a show which, again, this is a classic. Sam is very unstructured and I'm a control freak, but I'm told the idea for the show is simply OBS Studio tips and tricks. So we will do that. And I'm always learning stuff. Like Saeed is always teaching me stuff. And so we'll have a play with that next week on the show. So if you want to check that out, and if you didn't see yesterday's show, that's on the channel as well. What did we talk about yesterday? Different approaches to going live. So all the different options. We did talk about the Rode video device, the Rodecaster video device, which is amazing, but it has one little thing that I don't love about it. So I was really prepared to just give Rode 2,000 Australian dollars and move on with my life, but there's one little gotcha that again may not be a big deal for a lot of people, but it was sort of a deal breaker for me. So you can check that out as well. Okay, so it looks like my 550th subscriber was Chantel, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Chantel is actually doing a show about OBS tomorrow, I believe. And she hasn't used OBS in a little while, so it's going to be interesting to see how she finds that. And again, that's another thing we discussed yesterday, was that people love Ecamm, and Ecamm's probably great. Like, again, I just don't have a Mac. That's my only thing, and I probably am not getting a Mac anytime soon. I guess the thing about OBS is that it's quite modular, and you kind of need to find solutions for things like bringing guests in a way that I think the pro level Ecamm subscription just sort of does automatically. So you can sort of check that out. I know I'm subscribed to Chantel, but I'm just... Okay, so it is literally at Chantel Hills. So if you want to check out her YouTube channel, I think that's the right one. Yep. All right, you can certainly do that. Okay. Well, actually, Chantel, funnily enough, it's not that. So Chantel wrote 1080p. No, I again, maybe it's the Australian internet thing, but I'm not looking to broadcast in 4K. That's not it. Yeah, no, I guess, and I kind of, in fact, let me just see. I'll put this up on the screen because I'm sure I've got the image somewhere. And again, we kind of got a question about this. So someone asked how you could use the Rodecaster video with OBS, and I kind of naively thought that I could bring in all those different video devices in as their own individual video sources into OBS, but Rode very quickly corrected me on that one. So in fact, let me just make that full screen. Fit the screen. So with the Rodecaster video, Rode wrote, you will only gain access to the main program feed when going into OBS. So in some ways, you know, that's fine, but at that point, you probably wouldn't use OBS at all. You'd just work from the Rodecaster as its own standalone device. Saeed writes, you had me at OBS. And again, it's that classic thing that people around the world have different prices for things. So all the Americans are like, this will be a $1,200 investment, and I think it's much closer to 2,000 Australian dollars for us over here, which I don't think is a bad price, honestly. I think it could be really good. But yes, it just sends out that one program feed. And again, I love the fact that, like the Rodecaster Pro itself, like they just envisioned it as something that you could use as a standalone piece of hardware. And I think that can be really cool for certain people that do video podcasts in person, particularly. I think that's probably the use case for that. And to be honest, I still, like, if they sent me one, I'm sure I would love it. I'm really sure I would love it. I think it would be so much fun. But at the end of the day, I'm just one guy with one microphone and one camera. So I don't even, yeah. But it is it's so beautiful. Like, I don't know if you've seen this thing, but it's gorgeous. And I do love Rode as a company, and I own a lot of their stuff. So, you know, if you haven't seen this thing yet, it's so pretty. It's, you know, it's a video switching device. You've got all those inputs. You can bring in supported USB webcams and supported USB microphones as well, potentially. It connects with all their wireless gear, so if you've got any of those microphones as well. You can program the scenes within scenes and the different layouts and wrangle the lower thirds and all of the things. The only thing I still have a bit of a question mark about is if you were going live, and like, how do you actually interact with the comments? That's kind of the thing I'm wondering about the most. Yes. Chantel writes, if they sent her one, she would definitely find a use for it. Yeah, absolutely. That's like eight Stream Decks. Yeah. So Amazon are having a bit of a sale at the moment, and I keep getting this this ad from a company which I think is kind of a distributor for Elgato, and I like the pedal is like, I don't know, $114 Australian at the moment, and I'm like, that could be a lot of fun. I don't know that I need it, but it could be a lot of fun. And even like the Stream Deck Plus with the, which I believe Saeed has, with the touch screen and the dials and stuff. Like, it's all potentially fun, and if you're a nerd like most of us in this chat probably are, it can be really good fun. Oh dear, fun. All right. I like how I said I was going to wrap this up like 20 minutes ago, and I'm still here chatting, but I love the company. Like, it's really cool. The pedal is great for prompter users. Yeah, that's probably a good use for it. I do like the audio sync, and I don't really read a lot of scripts out loud. In fact, the way I tend to use the prompter is just as a bit of an eye level for meetings and stuff. But occasionally I'll have an agenda, and the great thing about the way it interacts with the Stream Deck is I can quickly switch from the display mode, which can have it's just basically another monitor from your computer, and you can put anything on it, to the text mode. And especially if I have a meeting agenda, I like to know what I'm up to when I can sort of flick between those with the Elgato Stream Deck buttons as well. Yes. And it's funny because I am such an introverted person in real life that I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to talk about the weather. So I do have this teacher mode that I'm in for 99% of all the content I produce online. But I kind of worry sometimes that it just means people don't get to know me. And I can be... Let's be real. I can be a really grumpy old man at times. So I don't know. People talk about this no-like trust factor, and I kind of joke that that's been the project of my life for 42 years, and I don't know that it's going particularly well, but I'll just, I'll do what I can, and we'll see where we end up. But like I said, I don't tend to think I'm doing very well, but then I'll get an email from YouTube that'll really just like... I still can't get over that. Like 60 new subscribers in a month and 273 hours of stuff that I've done that people are watching. Because I don't feel like the kind of person that has any kind of influence in this world, if I'm being honest. And in a lot of ways, the reason I started creating content and going live again after many, many years, like I was a YouTuber back when YouTube first started, and I went to their YouTube Australia launch party in Fox Studios in Sydney many, many, many years ago. And that was fun to an extent, but a lot of it was just personality and popularity, and I was never going to win those particular battles. And the thing that sort of brought me back was, we had a little global pandemic. I don't know, maybe you've heard of it. And it was just one of those things that my employment status changed very quickly, and nobody knew who I was or what I was capable of. And I thought I really need to make more of an effort to put myself out there. Said writes, you should rename it to the Old Dudes Talking About Geeky Things stream. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I kind of wonder who... Because I kind of want newbies to join us. So I kind of want it to be palatable to them. But the people that show up are very nerdy and they're very geeky and they want to go deep. And I kind of love that too. So Chantel writes, oh, me too, introvert hard here. But when I'm streaming, it's my happy place. And I guess for me, the stream is a place where I can control how long the interaction is. Like if I just run out of energy, I can just wrap it up and press the stop streaming button. And Chantel writes, will you influence me to try OBS again? Well, I mean, that's great. We love OBS. And again, I feel like there are a lot of paid products out in the world that have marketing teams that will tell you that OBS is hard and scary. And I'm not going to lie, there's definitely a learning curve, but I don't think it's as bad as most people will tell you or lead you to believe. And for most people, if you add your audio, your video, create a few scenes, maybe some images, that's all a lot of people need. I know it does get a little bit more complex when you bring in other guests via video, or if you're doing the social stream ninja thing to bring in the comments, like that can be a little tricky as well. It was on the cards, but you made it happen now. Yes, and I'm actually going to be at work when it's happening, so I'll try and watch in the background, but I'm not really sure. I'm curious to see how you go though. Said writes, when YouTube was still black and white. I don't know that YouTube was ever black and white. But yes, that's... I'm going to look that up, actually. When did YouTube start? 2005. Which, is not that long ago in the scheme of things, but it kind of feels like several lifetimes ago. All right, cool. So, I'm going to press this button again because I'm a little obsessed. And again, I'm going to have to make a better version of that, but I do love it. And we'll have to figure out how to work with that. Yes. So Chantel writes, I agree with you. OBS is just learning. It can grow with you too, which I love. And that's the thing, like, I have this slightly mixed metaphor that it's both a rocket ship and a pocket knife. And it's a pocket knife in the sense that it's incredibly useful, but it's a rocket ship in the sense that it can do literally anything. And if it doesn't do what you want it to do, there are developers that can create stuff for you. And again, you've got the browser sources, so you can, if you've got a web developer who knows a little bit of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, they can whip something up for you. And that was kind of that thing I was trying to show you, but again, I just don't remember how I created it because that was a whole week ago and I have no long-term memory. YouTube started as a dating site, and I imagine for some people that's still very much the experience today. But anyway, let's not go there. All right, well, I think like it's been so much fun, and again, I'm gonna try and do these each week moving forward. So just keep an eye on the event invites in all the various places. And I just want to, they won't necessarily always be about DaVinci Resolve, although they might be in the near future because that is the thing I'm playing with. But I just like the idea of setting some time aside to do a bit of content creation, do a little bit of chatting, and just go from there. So thanks for swinging by. Thanks for helping me get to 550 subscribers. That's kind of mind-boggling. And I will be back very, very soon, at least next week. 551 now. I feel like Saeed's even more invested in this than I am. And Chantel writes, "Thank you for this stream. Love hanging out at your place. Thank you so much for being here. Like it's really fun." And I must admit, I do, between being an introverted person and living a relatively isolated existence, I do like the social aspect of this. So I look forward to doing this again very, very soon. But right now, I'm going to go and drink my cold coffee. Have a great week and a great weekend. And I will talk to you again very, very soon.